books, new facts, new hooks, new tracks, new tools, new gas. You fools should move back. Original, boom bap, mystery school rap. Within the Pythagorean harmonics crowds, I move that. Who's that? The one that rocks this mic and 1,000 others. For further evidence, you can check this very album cover. I'm about to smother the ignorance out you motherfuckers. You sleeping on this teaching, let me get you out them covers. No time for sleeping, no joking, stay awoken. African drums still beat when the stick's broken. I'm floating, mind open, chakras glowing. I realize the all-seeing being is all-knowing. Heart clean, no interruption, chi flowing. From heaven we came from, so to heaven we going. We the first agriculturists, we reap what we sowing. Know who you are, not just what the TV's showing. I came to find you. We're the gods. I came to remind you. We're the gods. Don't let them blind you. We're the gods. The truth is inside you. We're the gods. Grow up, feed the needy, avoid the greedy. No one but us look like Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Not the painted bust of Nefertiti, but the Nefertiti on the temple wall seen by all in ancient graffiti. Heed me, 33 years ago, God freed me. Then she said she need me to spit the truth for her weekly, freely. Easy, open mics, now don't tease me. My face gets sweaty, palms get all greasy. I start flashing shit, all you see is feces. Written shit, spitting shit, KRS a different species. This boy beastly, he's slow and he's slow. That is the tempo. When you know, rappers come and go. Always claim they run the show till they feel that thunder blow. Straight from the mother flow, gutter flow. They spit bullshit, I spit the other flow. But bullshit's a fertilizer, maybe to help these brothers grow. I don't know. I came to find you. We're the gods. I came to remind you. We're the gods. Don't let them blind you. We're the gods. The truth is inside you. We're the gods. Queen Mother, wake up. King Father, wake up. You sleeping on this teaching? It's you I gotta shake up. Wake 'em up. We the return of the Christ. Christ is not a man, it's a symbol of a community brought back to life. They got you looking for a red or white or blue savior, but here comes the black savior, Krishna, gat blazer. Tongue sharp like that razor, original rap flavor. I speak in general terms cause I'm that major. Still got the pager privately, don't lie to me. God is the Motorola mobilizing inside of me. My sheep know my voice and stay choicing and flock to me. When knowledge reigns supreme, ignorance you not gonna see. Unite with me, and I'll unite with you. Don't fight with me, and I won't fight with you. Establish law, that's what we gotta do. The future's depending on us, maybe this is not for you. I came to find you. We're the gods. I came to remind you. We're the gods. Don't let them blind you. We're the gods. The truth is inside you. We're the gods.
A subject that is going to be the hottest subject in the future. Why do you believe in God? And I guess that you in this case also indicate myself. And do I believe in God? No. That should make it easy. And most of you are shocked. Well, God, she's dead now. She's been dead quite a while. When I needed some food, I went to my mother. When I cried, I went to my mother. When I dirtied myself, I went to my mother. And nobody says anything about my mother. When a man gets involved with a woman and a child is born, you said to the man, you are the father. But when you got an argument with him, you tell him, God is the father of the child. Now, you've been double-crossing. He is the father and God is the father. How? You either went in a bed in the house or in the bush or someplace else. But now you find that God is the father. Now, who is the father? Is it God or is it the man that you went to bed with? Let us examine this thing. There are three gods that you worship in the United States, predominantly. The first one is the Jewish God, not your God. I know some of you claiming to be Jews and so forth, and as my parents would have claimed, especially my father coming from Ethiopia, would claim as Ethiopian Jew that Jehovah is God. And at the same time he says Jehovah is the God of the Jews. The first Jew in human history was a man named Avram or Abraham. Avram in Hebrew, A-V-R-M, or Jehovah in Hebrew, J-E-H-O-V-A-H. Abraham was born in the 21st dynasty. I think you should note that down. There were and is 96 pyramids in Egypt. The last pyramid was built in the 22nd dynasty. That means that if the first Jew was born in the 21st century, how could they charge Moses, who was supposed to be born in the 18th dynasty, that Moses led the people in slavery against the Egyptian government, and there were no Jews yet? That's the first God of the West. The second God is a God called Jesus the Christ. His mother is supposed to have him without the benefit of one man. No man. Just think of it. No man touched her. Yet, in the discussion about the birth of Jesus the Christ, a man was supposed to engage with her 3 months before the marriage and then come back, didn't touch her, and noticed she was pregnant. Then he asked her, who does this situation belong to? She said, you. He said, thou art a what? Whore. That's what the Bible says. H-O-R-E. That's a prostitute who's been going with everybody that she couldn't find. The third, that's 1997 years ago. And the third person that we worship as a god, 1300 and 1600 and something ago, was a man in Arabia. And that man in Arabia who found this out to be a fact is called, I'd almost say Elijah, but Muhammad. Muhammad, you told me he's a camel driver, he was illiterate, he couldn't read the name Allah if it was written in letters big as this building. And then you say how he found it out? He went on a carpet down from Mecca to Jerusalem. Now tell me how a carpet operates, if it carries him or anybody else. Now these are your definite statement of your belief, how it started. So Do you know, no, does the world start with Jehovah? No. For thousands of years, for at least 4,000 years before the word Jehovah is mentioned any place, where billions of people have lived and died. They were worshiping Yahweh, they were worshiping Ra, they were worshiping one thing. They worship that you don't worship. They had a goddess. They had many goddesses. What happened to the goddess? Women, some of you are women. Aren't women worth worshiping? I worship my mother. I wouldn't be ashamed to tell you that. And I hope my father did. I think he was intelligent. He worshiped her. That's why they beat women so often in the American society. You all call it battered woman. Sound pretty, it's a big name. But it's funny that the goddess disappeared and there's no goddess. Not one in your mind. And I ask again, why isn't there any goddess? If there is a God, and there should be a goddess for the God, especially when you said that the woman is the mother of God. You said in the Catholic text, Holy Mary, Mother of God. If Mary was the mother of God, she is before God. She knew God when she didn't have a seed in her. God was nothing. How come that she became pregnant, got God in her, and then God comes out? This is based upon you. You said, a child born from a mother without a father who is married to her is a bastard, you said. Illegitimate. Jesus Christ qualified. He's illegitimate, his mother was married. Second, he's a bastard. His father was married. I did not say this. I am quoting from your text of things that you said. If someone find me to be wrong, please get up and say so now. Tell me the correction so that I may correct myself from the error. If not, I will continue. You said I must believe in God. When I was a boy, my mother, being following the Hebrew religion, she did until she died, and my father followed the Hebrew religion until he died. And I followed the Hebrew religion until I get big enough to know better. When I was small, a little fellow named Reynald got kicked. And he got ruptured and died. I asked my parents to go to the funeral like most of the other little kids, and my father said I couldn't go. My mother said I couldn't go. Well, that was enough. It meant I couldn't go. And then I asked my father, when it was all over, why couldn't I go? And he said I was not a Christian, it was a Christian funeral. I said, but I know Reynald, we were in the same class. And the kid that kicked him was a fellow Christian, and he died. My father's statement to me was that his God is different to my God. I started to think then, because I thought that all men, they said, it's a difference in philosophy. All men believed in a common God. So then I asked another question, why is God here, Jehovah, God there, Christianity, Christ, and God there, Allah, but no goddess? And I said, yet God over here has a woman who is the godmother. God over here has a woman who gave birth to him, and she is his mother. And God over here at Muhammad have another goddess over there. All the time I look at God having a mother who is never proclaimed but is mentioned. And all the time I look over here, the man gave birth to a child, a girl child, a mother. And he had given birth to God and no help of a woman. And then I looked at men, including myself, and noticed that a man has no provision to give birth, even if he's a faggot. Have no provision made to give birth to anything, that when he's urinating, he have trouble sometimes. So I had to ask myself eventually, it was bothering me all the time, I eventually asked myself, how could a man give birth to a child? There are fellows trying to prove it to me all the time, but I can't see it. I see them switching and doing all kind of things. But they haven't been able to deal with it. And no minister, no rabbi, and no imam have I asked to tell me where and who is God. Where can I find God to go and explain to him my problem? And I ask any of you to tell me realistically, what did God do for you? Don't tell me something you dream about. Tell me something that I could see. Don't tell me who you heard, what you believe. I want to see the actual fact. And not one of you here can do that. Not one. If you're a minister, you can't do it. If you're a bishop, you can't do it. If you're a imam, you wear black and white, pink and green, you can't do it. God is a factor that none of us have ever seen. Now, many of you say that you believe in God. I bet you can't show me God. And get me, you can't prove to me there's such a thing as God. You don't tell me what you believe. I don't want a damn of what you believe. You could believe all kind of things, but prove it. Where is God? Where he come from? And if God made the world, where was God when he was making the world? If he made it, it doesn't exist, right? And he got to be someplace to make it. I ask you, where was God when he made the world? You can't tell me a single place because you're telling me about the world. Have you ever given those things a thought? You never. You believed in God primarily, either your mother or some guardian or the other, or your father, told you about God, and you see other people believing in that, and you were afraid to believe in it, so you follow your parents. Like me. Until I started to examine, without any prejudice, I started to examine what is God, what is meant by it. And I went through some problems because I was afraid at times. I had never asked myself the question and had the nerves to examine what is God. Of course, I have been easy. I've read books about goddesses in different religions and didn't believe there could be a goddess because a man taught me that a woman would never reach to that point. He never said why. He never give me any reason. It was automatic. A woman can't reach to that point. That's it. She can have even God. She make God, but she can't be like God. She, Holy Mary, Mother of God. And then most of us here Christians, I assume I may be wrong, but we have heard some people say, I'm not a Catholic. You are a Catholic. And if you're not a Catholic, you're bastard proceedings. Martin Luther was a Christian Roman Catholic. He fought against the church that started the Protestant movement. So you came out of the Catholic Church. Don't knock it. And then, before you became a Christian, 1997 years ago, you were a Jew. The Christians in Alexandria, Egypt fought, and they fighting against the Jews, started their own religion out of Christianity. But where did the Jews come from in their religion? You don't discuss that. How is it that they don't tell you where Judaism comes from? The Judaism always was Judaism. Was Abraham the first Jew? The very first Jew, Abraham. Didn't Abraham's mother worship God? Did she worship any God you know? Did Leah, his father, worship any God you know? Weren't those people worshiping a God? And his God wasn't Jehovah? You read that he had a God, but you said his God was a bad God, was no God. He was a no God. Why is he a no God when people was calling him a God? Because you feel that way. Because you are trained that way. You don't know that God was a bad God. People tell you it was a bad God. When you go to Egypt, many of you are going to Egypt with me and you've gone alone. You see a God. They tell you this is the God. His name is Ra. And the people worship Ra before Abraham was born, before his mother was born, before his father, his grandmother, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, his great-grandmother was born. They were worshiping Ra. Why is Ra incorrect? Why is Ra not God to you? What's wrong? The Canaanites, the 7 nations of people called Canaan, they had a god Baal. Why is he wrong? Did he do something to you? Huh? But you never given it a thought. Never once given it a thought. But you said it is wrong. You never asked what the Pharaoh was. You said the Pharaoh was a group of Egyptians who took the Hebrews. How did the Hebrews get there? You said Abraham was born in the city of Ur in Chaldea. You said so. When he was born in Ur in Chaldea, that means in Asia. He's not in Africa. Egypt is in Africa unless I saw the wrong thing up to last Sunday. And Egypt was going along before there was Moses, before there was Abraham, before there was Jacob, before... I keep going all the way. They had a civilization in Africa and all the pyramids. The first pyramid was built in the 3rd dynasty, that's the pyramid of Saqqara, and the 96th pyramid was built in the 22nd dynasty. No Jew alive, not one, was born. And some lion minister tell me that the pyramid... You're lying if you're telling the truth. I mean, I don't know you may find some other word for it, but I don't know it. And there are 96 pyramids, as I said. But something else. You said that the Jews built them as slaves. So who built those in Sudan? You don't know there's pyramids there? You haven't heard? They got some men in here that have gone to Sudan with me to see the pyramids and saw the pyramids all over. There are 44 pyramids in Sudan. 44. But you don't know this. Because someone didn't want you to know this.
That's right.
I'm going to stop a minute. All of us, that was including me, never one time had a dream or anything, not even a dream, about God. Because you don't know any format in which to put God in. And to dream about something, you got to know the format. But you come in the next day and say that you have dreamt about God. What is it you have dreamt about? Many things we say about God is because we have heard others prattling it. No way have you gone and seen a God. What does God look like? If you have seen the God. Is he black? You are a black people. Let us look at the gods that they got. If you are white and Jewish, God is not shown. There's no picture of God. They say God has no picture. He has no color. Now, how can you see something without a color? Picture it. Tell me, and I will analyze it and see if you're correct. Have you seen something without a color? Anything. Not only God, it can be anything. I'll accept. What have you seen without a color? All right. Muhammad said, God, Allah, has no color. But it's strange, every time I see in Egypt and any part of Arabia, I see God, and God advocates they are painted brown. I want to be a little more careful than that. I want my God black. Because there's no doubt I'm black. I have no doubt about it, and I'm happy with it. And when I used to have girlfriends, I had my girlfriend black. See, I had no problem because I have no night problem. In the night, I acted with black, and in the day, I acted with black. I have no doubt. I have no doubt to make apology to anyone, anytime, anywhere. I operated with black women. And if I get strength again, I go operate with black women. So I have no doubt about it. You see? And I don't have these conflicts because when I notice with the people that runs religions, especially Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they present their God white and yellow at least. You see, the Arabs are married with a number of black women because at one time, since they were traveling from the Karax mountain, they found it necessary to go with black women. And when they enslaved the Sudanese and other people, they went with black women. So naturally, the woman used no protection. She had babies, none looking like God. It's funny. They all look black. But nowadays, Arabs don't marry many black women. And when they come to your community, they don't deal with many black women. Of course, they may have their little fun, but they're not marrying you. And if you should have a little fun, don't marry them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what I am saying. I am saying that treat people as they treat you, with respect. They don't marry you, you don't marry them. All right. Let's go again. God is never shown Last night or 2 nights ago, they buried an old woman. And her name was Teresa something. But all of a sudden, she became a Mother Teresa. I don't know any black children she had. Do you all, anybody here know of a black child she had? How she became a mother? She wasn't a surrogate mother. She never had a child. Where did she get the child from? I guess like Mary is an evaporated child. You see, it's very difficult for me. I'm trying every way. And if you find something I have not said, please remind me so that I can examine it and then come up to what you come up as a God. And then you definitely got to prove to me, why is there a God and not a goddess? And there are more women than men. And it's a natural behavior of nature. You have more women because when a woman is pregnant, what she getting to 1, 2, 3, 7? She ain't gonna be pregnant a while. She's gonna be pregnant at least till a baby comes out of her. In the meantime, to get another woman pregnant, you got to go with another woman, not her no more. So nature make it that there are more women available to men, and men still fighting, beating them up and killing. And I can say with pride, I have yet to hit a woman other than a little child, my child. I have yet to hit a woman. If you believe in God, then why you hit the child? Go to God and complain. This woman isn't behaving right, God. Do something. But God have never done a damn thing. Never. He never make a man walk in your lifetime. You tell me about Lazarus and all them story tales. But you can't show me one person who saw Lazarus got up and walked. Not one. I could tell you a tale about anything I want and tell you it happened 10,000 years ago. How are you going to prove it? You have no way I could go and read it, no document, no anything. I don't have to believe your words, and you don't have to believe mine. And when you're talking about that and the wars, in Aswan I could carry you to the temple of Isis and show you the king being baptized long before Jesus was subjected to baptism. The king had to be, all kings of Egypt had to be baptized by holy water made of ants, and it was the most sacred thing of the king. They had these things that they stole, not copied, they stole it. The Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims stole. You can go to the tombs in Egypt, those that are open, and see where they stole it, see where they cut it out, see where they took chisel and chiseled it out. And still they couldn't chisel it all. And you go to Egypt and you see it for yourself. Thousands of years before the Jews, when they came and stole, from that time they were stealing from Egypt. And you got problem because, well, I don't know, I ain't been there. Go there then if you've got trouble. Go with somebody. They got over 30 African people bringing people to Egypt. Some of them don't know what the hell they're saying, but they're bringing them just the same. Skimming off the top, and they have a time in the bar and so forth. And most of them going on the boat having a big cruise down the Nile. Very few of them taking a bus that goes through the village and all over. Very few, because they're not interested in that. They're interested in liquor down the Nile. You see, I got to tell you just like it is. If I could carry you to Egypt from John F. Kennedy Airport straight to Cairo, 10.5 hours, non-stop, in a 747 jet, the latest I got. Give you food for 13 days that you're going to be there. Breakfast and dinner in the best class 5 hotel. There's nothing better than class 5. And I could take you around with air-conditioned bus, even the Mercedes-Benz. And in 2 days, when we're coming from Aswan to Luxor, and from Luxor to Dendera and Abydos and back, you get an extra box lunch. That means you get 2 high-class meals, and then carry to all the place on my brochure, bar none. And then give you a lecture in the day, and you have an hour after that lecture, question and answer period, and as long as you wish, I will go. The rest of the day is free. And if I could do that and charge you, I began charging you $900. I'm up to $1,500, because every year the airline goes up and the hotel goes up. And out of that, give tips to the workers, the ladies who work on the bedroom, clean the beds, the porters,